Hope is it clear voice? Okay, we have totally three diagrams. In that static diagrams are class diagram, object diagram, component diagram, and deployment diagram. Then next one is dynamic diagrams. Those are use case diagram, interaction diagram, then state machine diagram. In that interaction diagram, we have two diagrams, sequence diagram and collaboration diagram. Then week one, we are completed the basics of use case UML models, okay, unified modeling language. Then basics are completed in week one. And week two, we are studied class diagram. In week three, we are studied use case diagram and interaction diagram. Okay, use case diagram and interaction diagram is completed. Now we will see the in that interaction diagram. We have two diagrams. One is a sequence diagram. Another one is collaboration diagram. The last class, the sequence diagram is completed. Last class, what is there? What is completed? Sequence diagram is completed. Then what is the purpose of sequence diagram? The sequence diagram purpose is the interaction between the objects, the interaction between the objects at execution time. Okay. We are studied in a ATM system, how we are interacted between the objects. Okay. For interaction, we need object and object message and self loop. Self loop means then self verification and returning message. The returning message we are using dashed arrow. Then for sending message we are using the direct arrow association relationship. Then returning message we are representing in dashed arrow. Okay. Then if the transaction is failed, a destruction marker is cross marker. Okay, these are the five things are very important for sequence diagram. Is it clear, students? If anyone is absent last class, please listen carefully. Okay. Then this is an object diagram. We are representing the object just like an ATM. If you have ATM, you are representing APM. This is sending message. For sending message, direct association relationship. Then self loop, we are representing this is a self checking or self loop. And this is what returning the message, return message. How we are representing the returning message? Dashed arrow, dashed arrow. Then when the transaction is failure, then we are representing in cross marker. Okay. Then you can see this is a basic example of ATM system. Then we have three objects here. One is the user, second one is ATM, third one is database server. Then how we are interacting with the user to ATM machine and a database server. The user insert the ATM card into ATM machine. Then ATM machine will be self-checking by the card. Is it a valid card or invalid card? If it is an invalid card, it will be sending the information to the user. Please, you can properly, you can insert. Then if it is a valid card, then it will be give the information your card is valid and you can enter the money. You can enter the money. Okay. You can see here. This is your user. You are insert the card. That is an first transaction. You are checking the card. If it is an a valid, if it is an a valid, then display the menu. If it is an invalid, properly insert the card. If it is an valid, then it will be asked the PIN number. Then the person will be entered the PIN number. Then you can see here the sending message is what direct arrow. The sending message is what direct arrow. Then returning message is what dashed arrow. Dashed arrow. Then when you are entering the PIN number, that information will be sent to the database server. This is sending message, checking the PIN number. Is it valid or invalid? Maybe the valid, maybe invalid. If it is an invalid, re-enter the PIN number. If it is an invalid, re-enter the PIN number. If it is an valid, it will be displaying the menu to the student, menu to the user. Then whatever the person is interacted with the ATM machine, then it will be display the menu. Then maybe he will be he may be checking the balance, he may be withdrawing the money. There's so many modules are there in ATM system. The person may be checking the withdrawal option. Okay, he's asking the withdrawal from menu. Then enter withdraw amount. Okay, is entering the withdrawal amount. Then if you want, you can ask here the given the option, enter the withdrawal amount. The user is entered withdraw amount, how much you want, then is maybe is entered the 10,000. Then then checking for available balance to the database server. The balance is available, then the person will be receive the money. It is not available, then it will be display menu not available or balance not available. Then if it is in a balance is available, then what happen, the transaction will be performed, okay, the transaction will be performed. Then it will be asked to the, do you want again another transaction? This is do you want continue another transaction? It is not communicated with database server. The self checking ATM machine asking to the person, do you want continue the transaction? It will be displayed on menu. Then he don't want, then he will close the transaction to the ATM machine. Then this is what withdrawal amount. This is what withdrawal amount. In similar manner we can execute balance inquiry, balance inquiry, balance inquiry, mini statement, mini statement. These all are the modules of ATM system. ATM system runtime. This is a sequence interaction between the user and ATM system and database server. Time-based manner. There is a communication between the objects. Example, if you want balance inquiry, here user is there and the ATM machine is there and database server is there. Database server is there. Here dashed line. When the transaction is completed, it will be showing the cross mark. Okay. When transaction is completed, it will be showing the cross mark. Then user, then insert the card, insert the card, insert card. This is what balance inquiry, balance inquiry, balance inquiry. Insert the card. If it is in a properly inserted, then what happened? Display the menu, display menu, display menu. Then you can see here, this is a dashed line. You should be representing dash line. Display menu. Then what he's entered? Then he's entered. Uh, he display the menu and ATM system ask the pin, ask pin, ask pin. Then he will enter the pin, enter pin. Then pin will be checking to the database server. If it is in a valid, if it is in a valid, then here again display menu, again display menu, again display menu. Then what he want? He want interacted with ATM machine. Then balance inquiry, balance inquiry, balance inquiry. When he's an ask the balance inquiry, then transaction will be sent to the database server. Then database server will be give the reply to the ATM machine. His balance is the his balancing is what? Then display or sending here, sending information to sending information to sending information to ATM system. ATM system. How much balance is there in database server? That information will be sending to ATM system. Then ATM system will be display the information to the user. Display balance. Display balance. Display balance. Then he's received the he show the amount. And once again, after receiving the balance, the ATM system will be asking to the person, do you want to continue? Do you want to continue? Do you want to continue? Yes or no? Yes or no? If it is an yes, if it is an yes, then again another transaction will be started. If it is an a no, if it is an a no, then transaction will be closed. The transaction will be closed. Then transaction will be ended. Transaction will be ended. Here the sequence diagram is good for small modules. In your project you have many modules, 4 or 5 modules. In that 4 or 5 modules you can select some modules, and for that modules you can draw using sequence diagram. The total project architecture, if you want to draw, you can take class diagram or use case diagram. For representation of modules, submodules, then you can use a sequence diagram. You can use sequence diagram. సీక్వెన్స్ డయాగ్రామ్ లో సబ్ మాడ్యూల్స్ ని క్లియర్ గా మెన్షన్ చేయొచ్చు, ఎందుకంటే దెర్ ఇస్ అన్ కమ్యూనికేషన్ బిట్వీన్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్. Here, this is a library management, college information system or library management system. Here we have 4 objectives. Then first one is search for required books. First one is what? Searching the required books. Then if it is an available or not, the library will be checked in that library. Then if it is an available, then he is asking to the take books. Then if it is not available, he can leave from library. And if it is available, then if you want to issue a book, then he need to give the ID card to the librarian. Then librarian will be check the validation in database. Then you have only three or maximum 2 books. If you have already more than 2 books, then if it is already exceeded, then the librarian not allowed, and it will be checking your card is valid or not. Okay, if it is an invalid card, you are already completed your BTech, does not issue. If it is a valid card, then he can issue the books, and after issuing the books to the student, then he will updating the database. Then again he is asking the renewal the books. Then when the renewal time, he will check the fine amount. Okay, if it is a fine is there, he will pay the fine and update the database. Then when he is asking the return the books, again also he check the fine amount and pay fine and update the database. If there is no fine also, if it is no fine, then directly he will be return the books. The student may be returned to the librarian. Then every time if you are doing the issuing, if you want to issue the book, then you should be update the database. If you want to return the books, you need to update the database. You need to update the database. This is the library management system or college information system of sequence diagrams. Okay, the next diagram is the collaboration diagram. The collaboration diagram is also a type of interaction diagram. Then again, we listen carefully. Totally, we have 9 diagrams. In that 9 diagrams, the 4 diagrams are static natures, and remaining 5 diagrams are dynamic nature. In that dynamic nature, we have use case diagram, first one. Second one is the interaction diagram. In that interaction, again 2 types, sequence diagram and collaboration diagram. Now we are studying the collaboration diagram. The collaboration diagram is also a part of interaction diagram. Okay, you can see here, this is the collaboration diagram. This is also a part of, it's a part of what? Interaction diagram only. Now we are in collaboration diagram. It is also interaction diagram. Okay. Then what is an purpose? Then sending message and receiving the message, same thing. Then we are implementing the messages and we are in within the objects. Here show the order of messages that implements an operation for the transaction. Here in sequence diagram, you are sending the message 1 and you are receiving the message 2. Okay, it is an a vertical representation. The vertical representation of objects, the horizontal transaction in sequence diagram. Here we are giving the numbering system to the messages. In sequence diagram also there is a numbering system, but here in collaboration diagram we are giving the numbering system between the object. Then which transaction, which message we are passing first, second, third, fourth, like that. Okay. Here also the collaboration diagrams, we have some icons we are representing for objects. Okay, you can see here. This is the collaboration diagram of ATM system. Have you seen the collaboration diagram ATM system? Please respond. Have you seen the collaboration diagram of ATM system? Hello. Friends, are you there? Hello? Students, are you there? Are you hearing my voice? CR? CR? Varshini unnara?
Yes, sir.
Are you hearing my voice? వింటున్నారా క్లాస్ వింటున్నారా 176 hello, you can observe here it is a sequence diagram. There is a communication user ATM and database server between the objects. Here this is a collaboration diagram. This is also purpose of there is a communication between the objects. But here we are representing the order number. This is a user, then this is an object of ATM system, and this is what database server. Here the sending message is direct arrow, then return message is what dashed arrow. Then what is in a first sequence? What message is done? There is a message sending user to ATM system, user to ATM system. Insert ATM card, insert ATM card. And second, what happened? Checking the card. Second, what happened? Checking the card. Self loop is performed. And third, what happened? Third, what happened? You can see here. It will be inquiring the valid card or invalid card. If it is an invalid card, you can insert properly. You can insert properly. Means in that stage 3, it will be checking the valid information or invalid information. It is done in thought transaction. Okay. Then fourth one is if it is in a valid, display enter pin number. Display enter pin number. Then display enter pin number means there is a communication between the database server and ATM machine. Okay. Then next one is display enter pin number means it will be showing the in ATM menu. Then user will be enter the pin. User will be enter the pin. Then sixth one is checking the pin number. And seventh one is if it is a valid or invalid. Okay. Then eighth one is if it is an invalid, re-enter the pin number. Then if it is a valid, display the menu. Okay. Then tenth one is when he is displaying the menu in ATM machine, then person will be select the withdrawal option from menu. Withdrawal option from menu. Then 11th one is entering the withdrawal amount. And 12th one is check for available balance. If the balance is available, then it will be displayed to the person. If it is an a balance is not there, available or not, it will be checked. If it is an available, then it will be displayed balance is available. If it is not available, then menu balance not available. Then if it is an available, then transaction will be performed. Then means the person will be receiving the amount. The person will be receiving the amount. Then next ATM machine will be asked to the person, do you want continue the transaction? Do you want to continue the transaction? ATM machine. This is a self-checking. The transaction 2 and transaction 16 is a self-checking of ATM machine. Do you want to continue the transaction? Then user is not interested, that will be close the transaction. Okay, this is a collaboration diagram. Collaboration diagram. Then both are similar, both are same, both are similar, both are same for performing the sending and receiving the messages, the passing the messages and receiving the messages. Okay, this is the collaboration diagram. And one more thing, one more advantage for your rational rows, create sequential diagram. Sequential diagram create JND, and you can press F5. That sequence diagram will be converted into collaboration diagram. Then you have the lab session on 20 onwards. Is 20 నుంచి lab section జరుగుతుంది. ఆ 20 లోపు 9 diagrams theoretical class కంప్లీట్ చేస్తాను. మీకు ఎప్పుడైతే ల్యాబ్కి వస్తారో then you will be execute all 9 diagrams. Class diagram, use case diagram, interaction diagrams, in that sequence diagram and collaboration diagram, state chart diagram, interaction diagram, then component diagram, object diagram. The total 9 diagrams you can execute. Then this is the library management system. There is a communication between the user, library, librarian, and database. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? The totally how many diagrams are completed? The totally how many diagrams are completed? The first one is class diagram completed. Then second one is use case diagram completed. Then third one is sequence diagram completed. The fourth one is collaboration diagram. Collaboration diagram. Then this sequence diagram and collaboration diagram we are calling interaction diagram. Interaction diagram for sending messages and receiving the messages. Then class diagram is static diagram. Then use case and sequence and collaboration. These all are what? Dynamic diagrams. Okay. Then now the next diagram is state machine diagram. The state machine diagram also dynamic diagram. It is also a dynamic diagram. Then we are representing the states. We are representing the states. We are representing the states. You can see here. This is a state machine diagrams. The first one is state chart diagram. Second one is activity diagram. The state chart diagram means we are representing the states in a dynamic behavior. Then what are the sequence of states are there in your diagrams? ఏ స్టేట్స్ ఉన్నాయి మీ diagrams లో అనేవి represent చేస్తారు. Then how we are representing? We are representing in objects only. Okay. Then state chart diagram is typically used to model the discrete stages of an object lifetime. What states will be? It will be performed. First ఏం జరుగుతుంది, సెకండ్ ఏం జరుగుతుంది, థర్డ్ ఏం జరుగుతుంది. Okay, this is an state representation. This is the state representation. Here you can represent the object or state. Okay. Then what is the state of your object? ఏ స్టేట్ లో ఉంది, ఏ స్టేట్ కి కన్వర్ట్ అయింది, ఎప్పుడు క్లోజ్ అవుతున్నారు. That will be represented in a state chart diagram. Okay. Then for you naming, you can write down in between this state. Okay. Then what are the actions it will be performed? Then entry, exit is the main thing. It will be entry and exit. Then start initial state we are representing in dot representation. Okay, this is a begin process. This is a start state or begin the state, and this is the representation of ending the state. Then dot in that circle you are representing some dot information. This is the end process. Then this is the initial state. Okay, and this is the ending state. For here the initial state we have only one state, one initial state, one initial state. But ending states we have more than one. We have more than one. More than one. Is it clear? This is the state chart diagram. State chart diagram. We have the state chart diagram. That state chart diagram, state machine diagram, that is will be divided into state chart diagram and activity diagram. The state chart diagram we are representing the states. We are representing the states. Okay, this is the representation of state. Then we have starting state. Then there is a dot. This is a small icon of begin process, and this is the ending process. There is a single initial state. We have more than one ending states. Okay, this is the state transition between the state and activity that we will see later. Okay, this is the tools we are using in state chart diagram or state machine diagram. This is a state representation. This is an activity representation, just like an ellipse, and this is a rectangle representation. This is a start state. This is the end state. This is the arrow representation is the state transition. Then this is a self-checking state, and this is a horizontal synchronization. We are using this one in activity diagram. We will see in activity diagram later. Then next one is the vertical representation. Also, we are using in activity diagram. Then decision making is for condition checking. Then swim lanes we are using for divided into two different types of objects or two different types of parts. ఏదన్నా ఒకవేళ పార్ట్ గా డివైడ్ చేయాలి అనుకుంటే we are using swim lanes. Okay, that we will see later. Then initially we will see the state chart diagram. Okay. Then in your ATM system, how many states you will be see? Then how many states you will be observe? Okay. Have you seen this one, students? Please.
Yes.
Okay, these are the states of ATM machine. మీకు ఒకసారి 9 డయాగ్రామ్స్ చూస్తుంటే కొంచెం ఐడియా వస్తుందేమో. అంటే స్టార్టింగ్ కన్నా ఇప్పుడు కొంచెం ఐడియా రావాలి. క్లాస్ డయాగ్రామ్ లో ఓవరాల్ టోటల్ క్లాస్ మొత్తం రిప్రజెంట్ చేస్తున్నాం. యూస్ కేస్ డయాగ్రామ్ లో యాక్టర్స్ అండ్ యూస్ కేసెస్ ని యూస్ కేస్ మధ్య రిలేషన్షిప్, యాక్టర్స్ మధ్య రిలేషన్షిప్ ని యూస్ కేస్ డయాగ్రామ్ లో చూసాం. నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఈ సీక్వెన్స్ డయాగ్రామ్ లో కమ్యూనికేషన్ బిట్వీన్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ చూసాం. తర్వాత కొలాబరేషన్ డయాగ్రామ్ లో కమ్యూనికేషన్ బిట్వీన్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ చూసాం. హియర్ స్టేట్ మెషిన్ డయాగ్రామ్ ఆర్ స్టేట్ చార్ట్ డయాగ్రామ్ we are seeing the how many states are involved in your system. మీ సిస్టమ్ లో ఎన్ని స్టేట్స్ ఇన్వాల్వ్ అవుతున్నాయి, ఎట్లా ఇన్వాల్వ్ అవుతున్నది అనేది చూస్తాం. యూ కెన్ సీ హియర్ దిస్ ఈస్ ద బిగిన్ ప్రాసెస్. దిస్ ఈస్ వాట్ బిగిన్ ప్రాసెస్ ఆర్ we can say start state. Then what is in a first, which state we are observing in ATM system? The first state is reading card. First reading అయితే. Then if it is a reading card is validated and successfully reading, then it will be goes to another state. Otherwise it won't go to the other state. Then reading card is the first state. Then stage one, we can say stage also, no problem, state or stage whatever. In first stage, reading the card. If the card is not readable, the card is not valid card, then directly it will be goes to end process, ejecting the card. End means one starting state directly immediately go to the ending process. If it is a successfully the card is reading, then it will be goes to next state. Then what is the next state? Then reading pin. Then pin reading. Reading is successfully completed. If your entered pin is a valid pin, it will be next state. Otherwise, it will be goes to the cancel. Then it will be go to the ejecting the card. If it is a not valid pin, not valid or pressed cancel, if you cancel, what happened? What happened? It will be goes to the ending process, ending process. Then after reading pin, then we are going to choosing the transaction. This is then a third state. Reading card, reading pin, two states is completed, and third state is choosing the transaction. Which transaction? The transaction may be mini statement, any transaction. Mini statement. The state may be withdrawal, maybe balance inquiry, maybe balance inquiry. We have many states. Then many transaction. You can choose any one of the transaction. Then it will be perform the transaction. Then I want to choose the mini statement. Then I performing the mini statement as transaction. Then after performing the mini statement transaction, I want to go balance inquiry. Means another transaction. It will be called another transaction. Then choose the transaction. What is my transaction? Balance inquiry. Then it will be performing the balance inquiry. Then after performing the balance inquiry, then I want to again call the same another transaction, withdrawal. Then it will be performing the withdrawal. Then how many times you want, you can use this state. Okay. After completion of performance of transaction, performing the transaction, when your transaction is finished, it will be goes to ejecting card. It will be goes to ejecting card. Means you can remove the card. You can remove the card and go to the final state, final state, or end process, or end process, end process, end process. Then you can see there is a only single initial state, but you have many end process, many final states. Reading card, not reading, final state. Reading pin, not reading, final state. Choose transaction. If it is in a cancel, final state. Then if not performing, then it will be goes to final state. If it is in a performing also, it will be goes to the final state. After completion of a successful transaction, the state will be goes to the final state or ending transaction. Okay. In state machine diagram, in state chart diagram, we are representing the valid states. We are representing the what? Valid states. Valid states. Then if the states is not valid, not valid, then directly it will be goes to what? End process. End process. If it is in a valid state, it will be goes to the second state. First to second, second to third, third to fourth, like that. Then whatever the states are there in your project or your system, then you can represent those states using state chart diagram. State chart diagram. Is it clear? Is it clear? State chart diagram. Is it clear? Then you can see another example. The state chart diagram of your CD player. The state chart diagram of your CD player. Then this is an initial state. This is an initial state. Okay. Okay. This is an your initial state. Then when your power on, then it will be open and you can insert the disk and you can select the song. The song will be play. The song will be play. The power on, it will be open. Then you can insert the disk. Then you can select the song and you can play that song. Then after you can rewind and you can stop the player, or you can forward, you can stop, you can pass and you can stop, you can resume and you can stop. Then after stop, it will be goes to end process. End process. Okay. Now you can see here. This is a state chart diagram of CD player. Power on. It will be open. You can insert the disk, select a song and play the song. Rewind, forward, pass and resume. Then rewind will be the playing and it will be goes to rewind. Then forward, play to forward, then play to pass. The resume means it will be from stop to resume. If you want, you can resume that stop a song, and finally it will be goes to the it will be goes to stop stage. Then pass and resume also possible. Okay. Then there is an association play to rewind, but here resuming means wake up mode. Then resume is associated with play. Then after completion of your states, then it will be goes to stop. There is a single initial state and many end process. Okay, this is your state chart diagram. Then next diagram is the activity diagram. We are performing the activities. Okay, then here we are checking the condition. Here we have forking and joining rules. The forking means what? Single transaction will be divided into many. Then joining means the many activities will be joined. Okay, and we have swim lines. The swim lines means we are dividing horizontally. We are in vertically we are divided into two parts. Here we are representing so many activities. So many activities. Okay. Then we are using some swim lines also. The swim lines will be divided into the more than how many objects are there. You can take the you can divide the many parts. Okay. Then this is activity diagram. We will see in next session. Okay, next class we will see the activity diagram and the component diagram and object diagram. Next class లో activity diagram, component diagram and object diagram చెప్తాను. చెప్పిన తర్వాత 20 నుంచి then you can practice the and practice in laboratory session. ఓకే, ఒకవేళ లాబొరేటరీ సెషన్స్ ఒకవేళ ఏదైనా ప్రాబ్లం వచ్చి కోవిడ్ తోటి ఒకవేళ స్టాప్ అయినా కానీ then I will take care. I will show the execution in software. Okay, then you have up to 9 diagrams only. The forward engineering is not there. Okay, up to 44 page only you have the syllabus. Is it clear? Students, is it clear?
Yes, sir.